I did not hit her. It's not true. It's bullshit. I did not hit her. I did not. Oh, hi, Mark.
Open up my eyes! I never misspelled anything! Not once, not one time!
Welcome back to my X-Men series of reviews. If you've been following my channel, I've been talking about the X-Men films I haven't yet reviewed. And today, I brought on my good friend the Flick Pick to talk about the best one. But not only are you going to help me with this review, you're going to do an unboxing for us.
That's right, Chris. I am. By the way, hey there, guys. How are you? But without further ado, let's unbox this deluxe edition of Wolverine Weapon X.
Wow!
Now, I'm going to open this up because we're nerds and we like nerdy stuff and we're talking about X-Men, so X-Men stuff. Now, what I like to do, Chris, is I like to put his arms up in this position right here where he flexes his biceps and it shows anger and rage. And if you pay close attention right here to the detail of the adamantium claws and the bulbous tips, that's so they don't poke your eyes out.
Bulbous tips. So X-Men Origins, this was an attempt at a big franchise. I think it failed.
On every level possible, directing, style, CG, acting, script.
Yes, I mean, when a studio makes a film and that film has specific points that reference and make fun of this one, Deadpool.
Yeah.
When another studio's like, let's just make a movie and make fun of the last thing we tried to do. Like, that's just... It baffles me that this film and The Wolverine have the same IMDb score.
It says something about our culture and the blind love for bad things, and it terrifies me. And the saddest thing is, this movie was supposed to be the starting point to an entire universe of solo X-Men spin-off movies, much like the Marvel universe is doing.
Right.
Except better.
So this movie opens with an open credit sequence. We got Wolverine and Sabretooth, and they're kicking ass in various wars. And I just felt like this was a big missed opportunity. To me, it felt like that was a movie I'd rather see. Like, what was good old Wolvie doing in various world wars? Like, that would have been a lot more fun than just like, here's me as Weapon X. Ah, adamantium. I'm mad at you.
Could you imagine Wolverine in Civil War, Vietnam, World War I, World War II? Could you imagine all these amazing things? I can't, because the movie gave us 4 minutes of a montage opening sequence just glossing over all this amazing stuff to work with, and they just said, you know what, all this good stuff, throw it over there. Let's just jump into some mediocre storyline with the Blob.
Yeah, really. And Will.i.am from Black Eyed Peas. Yeah. Like, what is he doing in this movie? Let's just have Justin Bieber be in the next one.
Why not?
Well, let's just do it. I think the weather outside has just, like, joined our depression.
It's a sign.
For X-Men Origins.
It's a sign. If there's lightning and a tree falls through the ceiling here, it was meant to be.
And Sabretooth just comes in and just kind of tickles you on your chin.
But he comes in on wires. He just glides in.
Yeah, because the wire work in this movie is incredible. There's a sequence near the beginning where Agent Zero is just, like, flipping over a fence. I get that he's a mutant and everything, but it just looks so bad. He's like climbing up the side of a building.
It's one notch away from him just dangling on wires like this, and you see a crane above his head.
Yes, it's so terrible.
There's the laws of physics and gravity just don't apply to this movie. Now, from the opening scene of this movie, it takes place in the 1800s. You have young Logan, young Sabretooth, and then when Logan finally hits mutant puberty, and his little shrivelly bone claws come out, and he goes, "Ah!" That's where you know that you might not be watching the best movie ever made.
Yeah, that was the first sign. I remember seeing this in theaters and being like, this sucked. And my friends were like, no, it was good. You know, it had Wolverine in it. And I was like, that was really bad, guys. Like, what are you watching? What movie did you see?
Were you aware when you first watched this movie that the CG was bad?
Yes. I mean, yes. Yes! I liked the X-Men animated cartoon from the 90s when I was a kid quite a bit. But that was a fucking cartoon.
Yeah.
And this is a live action movie. I don't need it to look like a cartoon. When he's in front of the mirror and he's like... And it looks like somebody just went in there with, like, you know, Microsoft Paint and just animated some claws.
One frame at a time. And I remember the first time I watched it as well. This movie was leaked like 5 months early or something like that. And when I was watching that leaked version, it was pre-CG. Like, some of the elements were there, some weren't. And I was like, oh yeah, his claws are going to look way better when this movie hits theaters. I watched the movie in the movie theater. and they look the same, and I was like,
What did they do?
what did you do?
What have you done?
But the thing about Wolverine's claws in this movie, like the scene you just said in the bathroom at the old people's house before they get violently murdered, great scene. The frame rate and the lighting doesn't even mesh up.
No, not at all.
Like they start flickering.
Yeah, it's... The other thing I hated about the fact that he becomes Weapon X and he's like dealing with this adamantium and everything. If you remember his flashbacks in like X-Men 2, when he has a flashback to that sequence, he's like holding his claws out and he's like, oh my god, there's blood all over him. He's fucking pissed. In the first X-Men, Rogue asks Wolverine,
When they come out, does it hurt?
Every time.
so maybe during this sequence where he's first discovering that adamantium metal has been grafted throughout his entire skeleton, you know, he might be experiencing a little pain.
Agony, maybe?
Some form of depression or anger, but no, it's like a comical scene in a bathroom where he breaks the old people's radiator and their sink, and he brings it out and he's like, I swear I'll pay for this. Like, it's supposed to be funny. It's like, no, this guy should be in intense pain right now. Why is this a joke?
Except it's like a comedy movie where a boy's going through puberty and he just discovers the first hair on his ball sack.
Yeah.
And his mom tries to come in the bathroom.
Right.
The thing is, this movie has no humanity. It has no real emotion. Everything's so superficial in this movie.
There's a sequence that I think we both thought was really funny where Wolverine wakes up from a dream.
It's like, did he just come?
Looks like we're gonna need new sheets again, baby.
Did you like when Agent Zero pulls out his gun and shoots Wolverine's cigar out of his mouth?
That was a quintessential scene for this movie. It really developed both characters, and the lackluster CG really sold me on the story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you like the moon story she tells to him about the cuckoo cachoo?
The cuckoo cachoo! The cuckoo cachoo! It becomes a Wolverine! And we're just trying to set up the title for this movie and give you a name, even though my whole subplot will later be revealed that I'm lying to you, but we're just going to shoehorn this shit in here for now.
Yeah,
Cuckoo cachoo!
Exactly. And that, like, when you go back and watch the movie and she's like, it was real for me too. I was really in love with you. That story I told you and everything, I meant it from the bottom of my heart. I'm like, oh my god, just shoot me. Give me an adamantium bullet to my fucking head so I can forget about this movie. If this movie could do just one thing right, it could have okay action scenes. Or at least convincing action scenes. Or well shot or choreographed scenes. No. We have a lot of high frame rate, shaky cam, multiple angle bullshit. I mean, there's even a sequence where like a bunch of logs fall on top of Wolverine. And they just kind of go... They fall flat with no vibrations, no jitters, nothing. They just go...
Gravity stopped instantly right there.
Yeah, exactly. When Deadpool first shows up and he goes into a room and he's just swinging his swords around, like blocking all the bullets perfectly. It just looks like Ryan Reynolds just walked around going like this. Please add convincing CG to make this look cool. This is all I can do.
When you compare that blocking tactic to the one that Wolverine uses at the end of the movie to block Sidepool shitty Cyclops' beam vision, where he's just holding him right here like this. God. Hey, Deadpool, why don't you just look up and kill him? Stop aiming for the claws.
When that happened in the movie, we just rewatched it. I went, this is real! This happened! Deadpool's eyes turn black, and then he shoots a beam out of his eyes. And Wolverine, like, blocks it like it's Dragon Ball Z or something. Like, what is this? What's happening? It's like this horrible 360 CG battle on top of a
smokestack.
Yeah. Oh, my God. And they sew his mouth shut, of course. They sew shut Deadpool's mouth. The merc with the mouth. His mouth is sewed shut, John. In this movie, they sewed Deadpool's mouth shut. Why don't you just fucking take away Hulk's strength? You know, why don't you just take away Wolverine's claws? Why don't you just make Superman just be like a poor, depressed college student who can't fly?
Why don't you give Thor a screwdriver instead of a hammer? Yeah. It's anarchy, Chris.
Why don't you just like make Batman just be like a Dracula cosplayer? And that's it.
That sounds like a movie they might develop next year.
Yeah, copyright Chris Stuckmann.
It's not even Ryan Reynolds playing Deadpool by the end of the movie. It's Scott Adkins.
Is it?
Yeah, it's another actor. It's not even Ryan Reynolds.
It looked like a close-up of him.
It's not. Not even once. It's Scott
Really?
Adkins. Yeah.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Isn't that phenomenal?
You know, of course, there's the big Weapon X scene where he comes out of the water and screams and everything. And unfortunately, they had to, like, cut it together in this weird, like, 300 style of directing, like, slow, fast-mo. It's like, couldn't you just show it really cool? Like, why'd you have to have it be like... Like, it was like this weird, fast, slow-mo bullshit. I hate it.
I'm not gonna lie, I kind of enjoyed it. It looked like Hugh Jackman got a pump right before the scene.
Oh, you know he did.
But during that really intense scene, they really bog it down because every other character in the room is like, I think he's gonna survive it. I don't know if he's gonna survive it. Oh, he's gonna survive it. Heart rate at 180. Heart rate at 120. Oh, I think he's gonna survive it. Maybe? I don't know. Fuck it.
We know what happens. This is a prequel. Yeah. We know that eventually Wolverine will lose his memory and that he gets turned into Weapon X. It's like they just took everything that we know happens and tried to make it happen in the most boring, unconvincing way, and then add little bullshit things in there like Gambit showing up or a fight scene with the Blob in a boxing ring that we don't need to see, or like I said, Will.i.am from Black Eyed Peas. It's like, we know exactly what's going to happen. This is just one of those things like, hey, you know that story you know? Here's how it happened!
Speaking of cringy, cheesy shit just put in there, when he escapes after being Weapon X from the facility that they transform him at, the scene where he cuts through the door in one big X, and the only reason they made that is so they could shoehorn it into the trailer. It was for marketing reasons only, and that was it. And by the way, from a technical standpoint, if you're gonna break through a steel door to cut it open, you wouldn't make an X and then punch the bottom out. You'd make a circle or a square. I get why they didn't do that, but it's just like, open the door or don't do it at all.
Could you imagine if he made an O and just came out and was like, I'm O-Man! So Wolverine's second big action scene as Adamantium Wolverine is this helicopter sequence where we have this amazing shot. Yes, it's incredible. With Wolverine on a motorcycle, and he uses his claws in the dirt to turn the motorcycle around, and then he's like on top of a truck. And the reaction in his face when the rocket blows up the truck, and he knows he's about to get catapulted through the air like a fucking slingshot. He goes like, "Ugh!" And then, like, just gets shot up into the air a billion feet, somehow avoids the helicopter rudder. This is the sequence in the theater where I was like, is this unfinished?
Did they forget to do this in editing?
Is this pre-visual?
Well, I love that sequence because it goes from 0 to 1 billion instantaneously. Old people just got shot to death. The next thing is he forgets how to use brakes on a motorcycle, so he uses the claws, and then he turns into Superman and takes down a helicopter.
Yeah, he does. It's baffling to me that anyone likes this. Because there are people who like this movie. There are people who like this movie. Look, if you like this movie and it's just because you enjoy it, you know, like it's okay and you like to watch it, but you understand that this is like one of the worst superhero movies of all time, then that's fine. Kind of like how sometimes I watch Batman and Robin to make fun of it, but I know it's shit. Yeah. But if you genuinely like X-Men Origins, I don't get it. I'm sorry, this movie's horrible.
In all fairness to this movie, I'm going to be positive for about the next 14 seconds.
Okay.
There are some good ideas in this movie. There was good ideas, especially with the opening montage sequences, and there's a few ideas where he actually does have a little bit of motion, and you can see that Wolverine inside of him. Mm-hmm. But they're terribly executed ideas.
Absolutely. I mean, the best part of the movie is Hugh Jackman. I mean, like, he's great as Wolverine, you know? You buy him as the character. He gives emotion to the character, even when the script is asking him to say horrendous lines of dialogue and do hilariously silly things in front of a green screen. He's great as this character. He's the saving grace of this movie, and that's really it. And of course, at the end of the helicopter sequence, he ignites, like, fuel on fire and walks away like it's Bad Boys 3 starring Hugh Jackman. Just
cringy, stereotypical action movie, slow-mo,
Yeah.
the wind's blowing, but he doesn't blink.
No, of course
blink.
not. No.
Now, just for 2 seconds, can we talk about the fucking Blob in this movie?
Oh, why not?
He looks like chewed up bubble gum, and that entire scene where it takes place in the boxing match with him and Logan going back and forth, it felt like a slapstick comedy movie, the way it was put together.
Hey, bub.
Call me Blob? Hey, Fred.
That was so dumb. It's like, hey, let's have Wolverine say his big bub line. Did you just call me Blob? Like, that's the screenwriting.
Just terrible. Like
That's the dialogue.
This movie didn't know what it wanted to be.
No, it's either Bad Boys or it's like a serious movie, like a romance where it's tragic. It's like a brothers are fighting and they hate each other story. It's a CGI mess. It's a hilarious slapstick comedy with the Blob. The Wolverine was a good movie until the end because it betrayed its tone. It became really silly.
Yeah.
But the serious stuff up until then I really liked. Origins is just like that throughout the entire film, like a big rocky just mess.
This movie was written in such a way that it couldn't help itself but be bloated. They tried to shoehorn in every mutant that they could. Gambit, Cyclops. They almost tried to make it like an origin story to Deadpool, but why you would ever start Deadpool off like that, I'm not quite sure. Oh my God. They almost committed suicide for every character in one movie. But this movie wastes so much time with just dumb subplots and scenes and little tidbits of terrible CGE like the cigar scene. But the one that was such a substantial waste of time was when it's finally revealed at the end of the movie that his wife of 6 years turns out to be a spy for Stryker. That didn't even need to happen. Like, she could have been a legitimate woman that he loved. She dies and he goes on a revenge.
It's true because she says, like, it was real for me too. Okay, so you're right back where you started. So why were you a spy? Why'd you have to die? And then he loses his memory and never sees her again. So what does that add to this film besides one scene where he goes like, dun, 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 you're alive?
His emotion lasts for like 12 seconds, and he goes, oh, and he just walks away. He's okay, cool.
Right, and then he has to like free all the mutants and everything with his claws. But of course, the only mutants this guy has captured, which by the way, he's capturing mutants to like give their powers and energy to Deadpool. Let me just process that for a second. Wolverine is freeing all the mutants that are in cages. So it's like, I guess you only like, took like the semi kind of maybe powerful mutants that can't break out of cages.
Yeah, they're so powerful they can't break out of the chicken wire that you put them in.
There's a little girl in the first X-Men that can walk through walls.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell is going on? What's going on with this movie?
No one knows. But Cyclops is also in one of those cages, I believe. Why doesn't he just take his glasses off and save the day?
Because, John, then the movie would be over.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But at least we got that really cool scene where Wolverine opens the cages up.
Yeah.
Ching, 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 ching.
Did you like how he just ran through all the cages and like didn't even look to make sure he wasn't going to slice a child's finger off?
Like every mutant dies when he opens the cages.
Yeah, that'd be so great. He's like, oh, running on. He's like, I'm a badass.
And he turns around.
They're all dead. So in the big, epic, bloated finale where Deadpool is teleporting around, by the way, because Deadpool can teleport.
Yeah.
Sabretooth just shows up and says, nobody kills him but me.
Nobody kills you but me.
Nobody kills Kakarot while I'm around. Destiny has reserved that pleasure for me.
So like we said, fucking Deadpool shoots beams and shit now, and Wolverine can block it with his claws, and of course, Wolvie loses his memory because Stryker shoots him with a bullet. And I mean, why did this movie happen?
Money.
Yeah.
You're safe now.
Holy Jesus. What is that? What the fuck is that?
Well, guys, thank you so much for watching my series of X-Men reviews. It's been a great time talking X-Men with you guys. Thank you for joining me for clearly the best, most perfect classic X-Men film that has no flaws. This is my buddy, the Flick Pick. You can definitely check out his channel. It's awesome. You should subscribe to it.
Well, thanks for having me, Chris. I appreciate it. I just wish we could talk about better movies when we collab, but that's okay.
It's true. Whenever we get together, it's like, let's talk about some shit.
Just shit.
Shit movies. Anyway, guys, thank you so much as always for watching. And as always, if you like this, you can click right here and get Stuckmannized. That was a reenactment of the special effects in X-Men Origins.
And the acting and the way the camera was,
Yeah.